ahead and kick off. Just the first one is just introduce yourself, like your kind of normal elevator pitch. Who are you? What do you do?
Wonderful. Hi, I'm Mandy Archer. I'm with Infinix Global Meetings and Events. You might also know us as RX Worldwide Meetings. We primarily focused in the pharmaceutical industry and then created the parent company Infinix Global as we branched out of pharma. It's still about 90% of what we do. I've been with the company for a little over 15 years now. I'm the VP of Operations and Account Services. So I oversee all of the team that is planning and operating our meetings. So it's a lot of fun and it changes on a day-to-day basis.
Yeah, yeah. I mean, the meetings industry, right?
Yeah.
Yeah. So that's the last question. That's so like the kind of standard thing. But next question is just when have you has Infinix done in-person meetings yet? If yes, when? And if no, do you have any on the books?
Yeah, so we actually did do one. I would say about 6 months into the pandemic, we did have a live meeting. It was a client who they just really needed to go forward with the virtual training. Sorry, not virtual, with the live training. It was very hands-on component. So they did choose to move forward. And what they did is they just found participants from a region that could get to the meeting without flying, without taking trains. It had to be a drivable location. So we did plan that for them. It was a small group of about 25. The only component is our staff couldn't be there on site to execute because it was in California and it was too far for any of us to go. We had offered to drive, but even with us driving, they didn't want us in airport or in hotels. So it became a non-option. Luckily, we have some TDs that we use quite often that are out in California. We're comfortable having them on site, but the meeting went well. It happened over a 2-weekend period and no one came away with COVID. Everything was executed. Lots of moving parts though, because at the time, California was kind of back and forth on its restrictions of indoor dining, outdoor dining. So we were constantly having to kind of ebb and flow with that happening, but it went off really well. And we actually have a program right now that's now looking forward to go through in June. So we're going to be super excited to get that one off and going.
Do you what if you had a crystal ball, like where would you see that?
Like when do I see things really?
Yeah. Or like what do you see from clients and stuff?
Back in January, we would have said summer. Kind of most of the feedback we're getting now is fall. So we're starting to see more events come through for the fall. But again, until, a ton of groups are willing to book it, I don't know when it's going to happen. I can tell you for the June group, Dallas is hard to find a hotel. So I know some groups are happening. We just haven't had a lot. A lot of our clients are large, so they're not going to be ones that are willing to take that risk. We're seeing the smaller clients take that risk. So
yeah, we've got something in Dallas in May, and then it's quiet again.
yeah.
Like as far as like on site, doing a lot of. Have you been doing much like virtual with your clients?
We've done virtual. So we've done a variety of virtual meetings. I wouldn't say a ton. A lot of our clients are still saying they're trying to ride the wave and wait for the face-to-face. They don't want the virtual. So they're stalling out as long as they can. We had one that they were pushing to July to go face-to-face. Their executives came forward and said, we just have to have the meeting. So they're going to do it virtual. But most of the ones that we're hearing from are trying to stall out. But we did just get an influx of virtual because I feel like people aren't quite comfortable yet. So over the next
do you feel like it's because you guys are mainly like pharma?
It's a large portion of what we do. We are seeing the pharma is not moving as fast as the non-pharma. So and that has to do with, right, the big pharma is not going to take that risk too much. Especially a lot of stuff is global. So that makes it a little bit harder because we're not having attendees come from all over. But you also have the physicians who, if they work for major hospitals, they're mandated to not travel. So we thought that would be released when the vaccines came out. But right now we're not seeing the release of physicians being able to travel with the vaccines. So until that happens, some of the stuff isn't going to move forward face to face. But our non-pharmas are the ones that are moving forward with the live meetings.
Yeah, it's so interesting how like how even though it's so global and it's affecting us all, like these different slices of different industries have such a different, like they're experiencing it so different. One of our biggest clients the is a like hospitals. So, they own like hospitals across the nation, and it's just they're not even talking about it yet. I
Right.
mean, I think there's a sales team that is talking about it maybe in late 2021, and that's it. Like it's just not on the not on the radar. Um, so kind of more I guess fun, but how did you get into the industry to begin with?
Oh gosh. I graduated college with a degree in computer graphics. Went and worked for a resort in Salado, Texas.
Oh, uh-huh.
So was down there and started kind of on the wedding side, and then realized like social weddings are not my thing. So I went back to the graphics and worked for a large production company out of Austin, working in their graphics department. And that's really what introduced me to the corporate meetings and events, because we were doing,
Oh, uh-huh.
conferences of 10,000, and then ultimately switched to move up from Austin to Dallas and landed where I'm at now.
How cool.
Yeah.
um it's so interesting to like hear different people, like how they got into it. I'm so like my entire life, my dad, like founded our company and is
Oh, wow.
such
Yeah.
a part of the meat industry. So like it was always there. Like it's been
Right.
in my life for like my entire existence. So it's so interesting to see how like other people sort of like stumble. And it's one of those things that you don't really, I think if you're outside, you don't really like realize that there's just
Mhm.
this huge network of
Right.
people who are involved in meetings.
Yeah, and
Uh,
back in the day, I don't think it was college courses. We've had so many people come up through UNT because they have a great program
mhm.
here. So we have a lot that have come in that way. But, back in the day, I feel like everyone just kind of fell into it one way or another. It definitely wasn't planned. So,
I know. I remember as a kid being like, oh, my dad's a meeting planner, and people, oh, well, what's that? Like, well, I literally just told you. Like,
yeah,
I mean, it's
yeah,
in what I just said. It
yeah.
was frustrating me. I'm like, I wish you were just a doctor or something. People understood.
If I did what was in the family, I would be in like the home renovation. That was kind of
Ah,
what my parents were. So didn't follow in those footsteps.
yeah, I know it's fun, but yeah, it's just always been my life. Well, just kind of last but not least, what advice would you give a planner planning events in the next 6 to 12 months?
I would say it's going to take a lot of patience. I think some of us are kind of ready to get back to the norm, how things used to be. I don't think the norm is going to be that way. The one interesting thing I hear a lot of talks about is hybrid's going to kind of be the way for the future, at least for the next 2 to 5 years, which is an interesting kind of thought to me because we've been doing hybrid meetings for years. This is nothing new. So when everything kind of went virtual, we were already familiar with the platforms, but we found great success in the hybrid programs with increased attendance. So really now is it, how can we make the hybrid meetings more interactive? Because we are going to have more virtual attendees joining those hybrid meetings than we've previously
Mm-hmm.
seen. In the past, it was just they could not make their schedules work, as to where now you're going to really see it. Just some people are not comfortable traveling
Mm-hmm.
for the next year or two for, many different reasons. So I think getting used to that hybrid and finding ways to create that engagement. So one of the things that we've really been focusing on is mobile apps, trying to engage your attendees that are there at the meeting, as well as those that are attending
Mm-hmm.
virtually. And the mobile apps just create a lot of shared experiences that we didn't have in the past. Mobile apps were too expensive to implement. Now they're very affordable. We own our own platform that we've kind of purchased through Crowd Compass. So all of that is customizable to the attendees. So that's kind of the way of the future that we see, is really creating that seamless transaction between the two. With, you can do push notifications, you can send updates. You've got that constant communication that you really didn't have before with
Mm-hmm.
everyone. And you can even personalize the agendas and what they see. So we really see that being our way of the future. And I think as more and more attendees start to use them, or clients start to use it, the attendees love them. That's the experience we've always seen. So it's really getting the clients on board with the expense, even though it's pretty nominal
Mm-hmm.
today. But once they see with the Q&A and the live chats and the surveys and the gamification, even social media, people are loving the social media component of the apps. So I think it's going to be the way of the future that we'll see.
Awesome. Well, thank you, thank you, thank you. I think we're gonna, like, especially that last little bit, we got so much good stuff from you. So we're gonna compile it, and of course we'll share it with you so that you can see we've gotten tons of good things. So we might even like kind of expand upon it and have, you know, a short thing and then maybe some longer stuff. So we just thank you for, you know, taking the time to talk to us, and it was good to chat with you and
Yes, you as
meet
well.
you in person.
Yeah, right.